So welcome everybody. As I said, we're going to be doing a nice stretchy, really just chill, longer holds, relaxing, kind of just releasing class. Almost like restorative, not quite though, but it shouldn't be too challenging today. So we're just going to go ahead and actually start out lying on our backs today, which is kind of nice, a little different, right? And just find a comfortable space here on your mat. You could keep your knees bent, feet on the floor. One of the things I like to do is actually take a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you could put a pillow or two underneath your legs and just kind of let your legs rest on top of it. Hands come down by your sides. Maybe get any little wiggles out so you can kind of relax down into the floor. Close your eyes here for a moment and allow your body to just exist here in this space. Allow yourself to become present and aware in the room that you're in, wherever that might be. Soften through the muscles of your face. Feel the steadiness, the support of the ground beneath your body. Give yourself permission to just let go. Trust that the earth is there to support you. You can just release tension in the body, release tension in the mind. Give yourself this time to just relax and release. As you start to settle in here, just bring your hands to gently rest over the belly. Palms are just flat. And begin to breathe deeply in and out through the nose, sending that air into the belly, feeling it expand as you breathe in. Noticing that it falls as you breathe out. And just beginning to watch and observe that breath as it moves. We'll start to add just a little bit of control to the breath, a little bit more of awareness, a little more intention to the breath. So we'll start to even the pace of inhalation and exhalation with a count. We'll count to 4 on the inhale. So inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1, and then exhale again for 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue with that count. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue just like that. 5 more breaths, counting on your own. Start to gently rock your head a little bit from side to side. Just feeling the neck start to kind of loosen up the shoulders. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up overhead. Just reaching through the fingertips, feeling that nice big stretch. Maybe roll out the wrists a little bit. Maybe even stretch through the toes. And if you had a bolster or possibly pillows underneath your legs, go ahead and remove that bolster. Hugging the knees all the way in towards your chest now. You can open up your eyes or keep them closed, whatever's suiting you right now. And just gently rock side to side on the mat. Allow your shoulders to melt back into the earth. Gently arriving at center. Keep your right knee hugging in towards your chest and just allow your left leg to lengthen down onto the floor. Flex your right toes and then just using your hands, kind of draw little half circles in the air with your right knee. Just kind of lubricating the hip joint. And then letting that knee come back to center. On an inhale, straighten your right leg out. And from here, you have the option to grab in many different places. You could interlace the hands just behind your thigh. Keep your right toes flexed. If you're not feeling any sort of stretch yet, you can slowly start to move the hands up, maybe the back of the knee, maybe the back of the calf. But try to keep the shoulders relaxing down. If you're having trouble keeping the shoulders relaxed and you have a strap or you have some sort of scarf or t-shirt or something like that, you could wrap a strap around the ball of your foot. So a strap or anything long that you have just around the ball of your foot, grabbing opposite ends and just kind of leaving the shoulders here on the mat and just using that grip to draw the knee towards your chest. Doesn't have to be all the way there, of course. Just feeling that length through the back of your right leg. And still finding that nice deep breath in and out through the nose. Now I talk a lot about the breath being the most important part of your yoga practice, especially for this class today because we're going to be holding poses and stretches for a long time. So the deeper you sink into your breath, the more you breathe, the more your brain gets the signal that the body is safe and it can release any tension that it's holding on to. So as you slow the breath, you may notice the muscles release a little bit more. You can always walk your hands up that strap a little more or draw the knee closer to your chest if you're starting to feel a little more open. Let's hold this leg for 3 more breaths. Go ahead and gently bend your knee. If you used a strap or anything like that, set it to the side, hugging your right knee back in towards your chest, and then exhale, release the right leg long onto the mat. Switching sides now, hug your left knee in towards your heart, just interlacing your hands around the front of the shin or the front of your left knee, flexing your left toes. Take those little half circles in that left leg. Again, we're just lubricating that joint. Nice and easy, just bringing small movements to the body to get the blood moving, to get the fluid of the joints moving. Making sure you're still breathing here. Inhale, bringing that knee back to the center, and then exhale, straighten the left leg out. Now it's up to you again on this side. Maybe just start with the hands behind the thigh. If you want to stay there, that is perfect. The higher you bring your hands, the deeper the stretch will be for you. If you notice the shoulders are coming up off the mat, this is a great time to maybe grab that strap if you have it, wrap it around the foot, and then just use either end of the strap to draw the knee towards your chest, allowing your shoulders to stay released into the floor. So wherever it works for you on this side, finding your edge, and remembering never to pull past your edge. Just finding that spot, that slight discomfort where you're feeling that stretch in the muscle and just breathing into it. Remembering that that breath will convince your brain that everything is okay and that it can release the muscles. That doesn't mean all of a sudden you're going to be able to bring your knee all the way down to your nose. That's okay. Don't try to. Breathe into your body's edge. Respect your body's edge. We'll take 3 more breaths on this side. Gently release. If you used a strap, remove it, take it to the side, hug both knees back into the chest, giving yourself a squeeze. And then gently we're going to start to rock along the spine. So take it for a total of 5 rocks, up and down. Feel that massaging of the entire spine in the back. On that 5th rock, bring yourself up to a seated position. All right, I'm going to go ahead and face you now just so you can see me. From here, we're going to find a nice Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Knees come out to the side, soles of the feet together, and you can kind of choose how big you want your diamond to be here. So know that if you have a bigger diamond, if your feet are further away from you, you're going to get more of a lower back stretch. If you're looking for a little more in your hips today, the feet come in a little bit closer to you. Now this is a really nice spot to maybe have a pillow. You could have a block in front of you to kind of lean on as you fold. I'm actually going to take the bolster, so if you have a bunch of pillows, you could just stack them up in front of you. And we're just going to lift tall through the crown of your head, first inhaling to create space. As you exhale, just starting to fold forward. Maybe the hands rest here on that stack of pillows, that bolster, maybe a block. And try to just relax your head down. We're just letting this be nice and restorative. We're not pulling anything. No forcing anything. Allow this just to be very relaxing, restorative. Again, the more you push your body into a pose, the more your body feels unsafe, and it tells your brain that it doesn't feel safe. And then that activates something in your body that makes your muscles tighten even more and resist because they don't feel safe. So the way that we combat that is, first of all, not pushing ourselves past that point where our body is starting to send those signals to our brain, but also taking those nice deep breaths in and out through the nose, helping to control that kind of fight or flight response, to settle everything down. To keep your heart rate low so the body and the brain knows that it's safe. Sometimes in a class like this one where we're holding poses for a long time, we might not experience as much of a strength challenge or an endurance challenge, but rather the challenge sometimes comes with embracing the stillness and embracing the silence and just sitting for long periods of time. That can be very challenging, especially for a lot of us that are always in go, go, go mode. Just sitting and breathing is very challenging. So just kind of embrace that here. If you notice that it's challenging for you, if your mind's going crazy, that's okay. Acknowledge that about yourself, and you don't need to analyze it or fix any problems right now. Just notice what's going on for you and continue breathing. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. On the next inhale, just gently walk yourself up. Take your time to come back up to seated. And if you had pillows or anything in front of you, go ahead and remove them out to the side. We'll take a quick little twist here, kind of warming up the spine. Bring your legs directly out in front of you and really try to squeeze the inner thighs together. Grab any extra flesh out from underneath your booty and sit up nice and tall, okay? Try to keep your feet flexed. All right, so we're gonna bend the right knee and just step the right leg over the left leg, trying to keep that length through the crown of your head here. Left toes are still flexed. Bring your right hand just behind your tailbone so it's grounded into the earth behind you. Inhale, lift through the left fingertips. And then we're gonna twist on the exhale. So twist to your right. Your first option is just to hug the front of your shin and gaze back. If you have a little more space in the shoulders and the spine, you can maybe hook your left elbow to the outside of the right knee and gaze back. Either way, find length and extension through the crown of your head. Don't let the twisting keep you from taking those full breaths in and out. It might be a little more challenging because you're twisting and you're constricting your belly and your chest a little bit. But just keep that breath going. We'll take one last inhale. As you exhale, go ahead and release back to center. Roll the shoulders back a couple of times. And then sticking with that right knee's still bent, we're just gonna bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh now. If you're experiencing any weird kind of knee pain here, or you notice your knee's kind of high up, this is a great time to maybe put a block underneath that knee again so it can just settle. Or even if you don't have a block, you could do some blankets and just kind of let your knee settle to it so that it feels relaxed and it can open up. If you're tighter in the hips, it's possible that feels tight when you're bringing that knee out to the side. So that's why we use a blanket or a block or something. Sitting up tall again, kind of turn your sternum so that it's facing your left knee. So that's just like the very slightest twist towards your left leg. Hands come out to frame your left leg here. Left toes are still flexed. Shoulders are back as you inhale. Lift tall. And then just inch your hands forward. Trying to keep your sternum in line with your knee. Using the breath to move. And again, when your body starts to resist, when it starts to tell you, hey, that's enough, that's far enough, respect that. No arguing with your body today. Nice deep breaths in and out through the nose. Inhale, slowly gonna walk it back up. And we'll take that right leg back out long, maybe shake it out for a second. And we'll switch to that twist on the other side. So bending your left knee now, making sure the right toes stay flexed. No, what happened? All right, not sure what happened there, guys. I'm sorry. All right, hopefully we got it started again. Sorry, I don't know why that closed out on me. All right, so anyways, moving to the other leg, we're going to bend the left knee, step the left foot over the right leg, sitting up nice and tall, shoulders back. Left hand comes behind. What's happening? That's fine. Okay, sorry. And we're gonna bring that left hand just behind the tailbone. Inhale to reach long and tall through the crown of the head. Right arm reaches to the sky. Exhale, twist to the left, either hugging the front of the shin or hooking the elbow to the outside of the knee and gazing back. Keeping your right toes flexed, length through the crown of the head, and continuing to breathe deeply. Take one last inhale here as you twist. Exhale, release the twist, coming back to center. Bring the left foot to the inside of the right thigh now. We're finding that one-legged stretch. So again, same thing, depending on how this knee feels, you'll always have the option to prop it with a block or a blanket if that feels nice in your body. Trying to keep it restorative and not forceful feeling. Taking your hands down to either side of the right leg, just use that grip on the floor to gently rotate your sternum in line with the right knee. Leaving the shoulders back and the heart lifted. Fingers can just start to walk gently forward, just inch by inch. And when you start to feel that resistance, when your body starts telling you to stop, stop and breathe. Sometimes, in addition to breathing deeply, something that you can do to help keep your focus or to help kind of combat that craziness that might be happening in your mind is to find a spot to gaze at. It's called your drishti. It's a focus point. So a great place that might be a good drishti for you in this pose is maybe your big toe on the right foot. Just allowing your gaze to be there can help to focus your mind. And we'll inhale, start to walk it back up. Taking your time. All right, from here now, we'll take both legs out nice and wide. So nice big wide stance. Again, respecting your body and where its edge is. So what we want here is external rotation in the legs. So your toes are facing either straight up or even as if almost they're turning outward, okay? So if you notice that they're falling in, it might be because you're going a little too far. If they can't rotate out, you might need to pop the booty back and take it a little less wide, and that's totally fine, whatever works for you here. This is gonna be a great place to have a block in front of you, any length, or a stack of books, a stack of movies, or if you have a bolster or a stack of pillows, it's gonna be just like that butterfly pose where just you have something to kind of rest on as you fold forward. So inhaling again to start with that length, lengthen through the crown of the head, lengthen through the spine, and then just use your hands. You can start to walk yourself forward. Don't let your toes turn in. Keep that external rotation. We're hinging through the hips. Hands walk out in front of you, and maybe they just rest down onto that pillow, onto the bolster, maybe a bunch of blankets, stack of books, stack of blocks, whatever it is. Breathe there. Notice too if you're adding tension anywhere in the body. So a lot of times I might notice that I'm clenching my jaw when I'm holding a stretch for a really long time, and if that's happening, just try and release it out. If it helps you to close your eyes, that's fine. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Then coming out of it the way you came in, just gently inching the hands, the fingers back little by little until you come all the way up to the top, roll the shoulders back. All right, remove whatever props you had in front of you. Now I'll go ahead and face back long ways on my mat. From here, we're just gonna kind of roll us forward into a tabletop pose. Coming onto your hands and knees now. If you have sensitive knees, putting a blanket under your knees can be helpful. Wrists are under shoulders, knees are underneath the hips, and we'll get some mobility going in the spine here. So inhale, drop your belly down, look up, lift your tailbone. Exhale, press and round through the back and the spine. And really try to use your breaths. That might mean you're going faster or slower than me, and that's all right. Just coordinating the movement to breath. So the inhale, the belly's dropping down. You're thinking about creating space. You're bringing energy into the body, creating expansion. As you exhale, you're pressing and round. You're releasing that air. You're releasing that tension as you contract your belly. Let's take a couple more rounds of cat-cow. And then gently coming back to neutral here. Just gonna tuck the toes and send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. Again, we're not gonna really be doing any flowing in this class, but down dog is a really great pose to stretch out the back of the legs. You can even pedal the knees out. It's a great strengthener for the shoulders. And it's honestly a really good grounding pose. So if you're having trouble feeling grounded, this is a great place to just breathe. We'll just stay here for 3 more breaths. Try to let your head stay relaxed between your arms. Find that drishti, maybe gazing towards your big toes or your heel, or your ankles rather. All right, on your next breath in, start to walk your feet forward just to meet your hands at the front, taking a nice bend in your knees. Halfway lift here. Fingertips on the mat or maybe the fronts of the legs, but keep the knees nice and bent, flat back. Hold here to create length in the spine, 3 breaths. Ground through all 4 corners of the feet. Taking one final inhale, exhale, release and fold. You can keep your knees bent, or if it feels nice, you can straighten the legs out. It's up to you. We'll start to rise up 1 vertebrae at a time. Again, we're not really going to be flowing, but we will get that breath, that energy moving a little bit here. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, dive it back down, forward fold. Just kind of moving through some half sun salutations. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Maybe keeping those knees bent. Inhale, rise up. Arms sweep up. Exhale, dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, roll up. Arms up. Exhale, dive, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. This time, bend your knees as you exhale, plant your palms, step back, high plank. Option to bring the knees down if you want, especially since we're kind of taking this nice and gentle today. Taking a nice big breath in, belly is in. As you exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Tops of the feet down onto the floor, taking the feet about hips distance behind you. Bring your hands so they're in line with the ribs. And we're just going to inhale for a little baby cobra. Peel the chest, peel the shoulders up off the floor, gazing up and down and slightly in front of you. Elbows are hugging in. Then we're going to roll through this cobra. So inhale here, exhale, gently roll back down. Inhale, roll it up, head's last thing to come. Maybe you come up a little higher. Exhale down. We'll take 3 more rolls. Use your breath. Maybe each time you come up a little bit higher, maybe not. All right, next inhale, slowly come up to the knees, widen the knees on your mat, bring the big toes together, child's pose, 5 breaths. When you're ready, slowly make your way back up. Tuck your toes, send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Walk it out here for a moment. All right. Walk your feet slowly forward to meet your hands, coming to your little halfway lift. Exhale, fold, heel toe your feet apart, grab opposite elbows, sway the torso side to side. Allow the spine to stretch out towards the floor. Decompressing all the vertebrae as you just hang upside down. Inhale, release, fingertips back to the mat or shins, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, step the left foot all the way back. We're coming into a supported high lunge here. So ground down through that right leg and try to get down into a 90-degree angle if you can. Back heel is nice and high, and then gently release the left knee down to the mat, or you can put a blanket underneath your knee. I kind of have sensitive knees, so I like a blanket under my knee sometimes. All right. This is also a great place if you have blocks or you have a stack of books or movies or something to just come to either side of your foot and kind of find a little more height away from the floor and allow your hips some space to sink forward for that low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Just breathing here. Again, we're going to stay for a bit because the longer we stay and the longer we breathe, the more our hips will start to release forward. Remember, if you don't have blocks or anything, that's okay. You can bring fingertips to the mat or even come up to the knee if that feels best for your body. Totally fine. There's still ways to make this work for you, okay? Soften through the muscles of your face. Find that breath in and out through the nose. If you're feeling fidgety, it's okay. Just acknowledge that. Come back to the breath. We're only going to be here for 3 more breaths. Try to make them deep breaths, though. Don't rush through the breaths. All right. Next breath in, we're going to start to shift back into your runner stretch or half splits. Again, if you have some sort of block or stack of books, stack of movies, you can bring those back maybe to either side of the calf. And again, let your hands rest here so you can have a nice flat back and you can make sure that your right leg is straight and you're flexing your right toes. So if you're feeling a lot of intensity in the hamstring and it's making you want to bend your knee, you're no longer really getting that stretch as much here. So try to find something to lean your hands on. You can, if you have blocks, you can take them to that higher setting if that's better for you. If you need a little more sensation, lower setting. Hell, you can even come to the floor if that's fine for you. And try to keep that front leg straight, the right toes active. Breathe for 3 more breaths here. Inhale, start to send it back forward into your lunge. If you had blocks or anything, just kind of move them a little bit to the side. We probably need them for the other side. Tuck your left toes, lift your left knee, and we'll just step the left foot all the way forward to meet the right, forward fold. All right, take a slight bend in your knees, feet are hips distance apart. Roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Arms are gonna sweep all the way up overhead. We'll move into a nice side stretch here. So on the right hand, reach the right fingertips towards the floor. Sweep the left arm up and over with the palm facing the ground. Feel that stretch into the left side body. Keep your legs and your belly active. We'll stay for 3 more breaths. Relax your left shoulder away from your left ear. Inhale, bring it back up through center, and then taking it to the other side. Left fingertips reach straight down, right arm up and over. Keep the belly active, the legs active. 3 more breaths on this side. Inhale, take it up through center. Exhale, bring it all the way back down, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale to bend your knees, palms to the floor. Step the right leg all the way back. Finding your supported high lunge first. Allow the hips to sink towards the ground And try to get as close to 90 degrees in that front leg as you can. When you're ready, right knee comes down to the mat for your low lunge. You're of course welcome to keep the hands on the floor, but try to keep some length in the spine. Try to keep your heart lifted. I personally like to come to the blocks when I'm holding this, just to help me keep my heart forward and give me a little space to breathe so I'm not crunching down onto my leg. Remember, you can always adjust your blocks to make them higher or lower if you have blocks, or you can even come up to the knee if you don't have blocks, that's fine too. Really breathe, allowing that right hip to settle forward. Let's take 3 more breaths on this leg. As you're ready and you get through those 3 breaths, start to shift it back to your half splits or your runner stretch. If you have those blocks or those props, move them back so they're more in line with the mid part of your calf. Again, if you don't have blocks, fingertips to the floor, maybe stack of books or movies. You can even bring hands up to the shin, but make sure you're getting that activation in your left leg, meaning that your left leg is straight and your left toes are flexed, okay? Trying to get that back flat when you round. You compress all this area where we need to breathe. So that's why we want that length. That's why the props can be really helpful to kind of create that space, especially in the upper body, so that we can breathe deeper. Remembering to find that drishti, maybe here you're just gazing at the left big toe. When you're ready on your next inhale, send the weight back forward, take your blocks or whatever you have, move them out of the way. Tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, and we'll step the right foot forward to meet the left, forward fold. Feet or hips distance again. Inhale, halfway lift. As you exhale, walk your hands over to the right side of your mat and just kind of press your hips over to the left. And then release your head between your arms. Again, if you have block or anything like that and the floor feels a little far, you can always come up to a block and just relax your head. That's a nice option. And think about we're twisting to the right and pressing our hips out to the left. On your next inhale, come back to center, find some halfway lift here, nice flat back. Exhale, hands walk over to the left side. Press your hips over to the right, release your head down. Gently walk it back through center, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, step the feet back, high plank just a moment, and then drop to the knees, sit back onto the heels for just a second here. All right. Now this is a spot where I would really recommend having maybe a block or something around, even a stack of pillows or a bolster is gonna be nice here, because we're gonna work on a little internal rotation of the hips. So oftentimes we do a lot of poses that externally rotate the hips, right? We open the knees out to the side, warrior two, triangle pose, even lunge kind of gets some external rotation in the hips. But internal rotation, our hips move both ways, right? So internal rotation, we don't really get to work as much. So we're gonna work on hero's pose. And because This can be difficult in most people's bodies. I would recommend having something to sit on. So I like to sit on a block just between my legs and just sit back onto the block. So this is going to be hero pose on your knees. Feet come out to the side, and you actually roll your calves to the outside of the thighs. Heels are on the outsides of the hips, and the knees are internally rotated, okay? If you're able to sit on the floor and that doesn't cause you any knee pain, awesome, great. It does cause me knee pain, so I like to sit on a block. Again, if you don't have a block, even just taking a pillow behind you, anything that can elevate your hips a little bit to take the pressure off of your knees when you're sitting and internally rotating the legs. So even a pillow works. I'm sitting on this bolster and it's just fine. So anything like that. So knees are coming in towards each other, making sure the inner thighs are touching, calves are outside, heels are outside of the hips. We're just gonna sit up nice and tall here for a moment. Hands can rest down onto your thighs. I'm gonna go ahead and turn back long ways on my mat. We're just gonna breathe here for a moment, just letting that internal rotation happen. Maybe you can close your eyes. I usually like to close my eyes during this pose, just to help me focus on my breath. Now remembering, if there is any sort of knee pain, you can of course opt out of this. Hopefully with the block or something under your booty, you can alleviate some of that tension in the knees. All right, option to stay here if you'd like and you're feeling okay and it's not a big deal in your body. You can maybe start to bring your hands back behind you. So you're going to start to get a little more openness in the front of the hip flexors, the front of your quads, but make sure that if you're starting to lean back, your knees don't separate. Knees stay glued together here. This is also a great place if you have blocks. You don't want to come all the way back, but you want to start to come back. Leaning on blocks is great. If you're still feeling like, all right, no big deal, I could go a little further, you can maybe bring it to the forearms. But again, at this point, make sure the knees are still squeezing together. If you start to come back and the knees want to separate, come up a little bit higher, okay? Because you don't want to force that pressure into the knees. This is all about the hips here. So if you're able to comfortably lay back onto your forearms, again, you can put blocks, a bolster under your back, a blanket under your back. And just breathe, feeling that openness across the front of the body. Remembering again, if there's any sort of pinching pain, then come up out of it. Whatever your version of hero pose is right now, let's take 5 breaths. Full in and out. All right, if you laid back at all onto the floor or onto blocks or blankets, whatever it is, just take your time to come back up. All right, and to come out of this, we're going to very carefully just kind of start to lean over to one side so you can bring one foot to the floor. That should feel, you should feel that in the knees. Maybe feel that kind of energy circulating, that fluid circulating through the joint. Take the other leg out. Just kind of windshield wiper them, windmill them, whatever you want to do. Loosen it up, take the legs straight. You can even kind of shake them out. All right, whatever you were sitting on, go ahead and remove that to come back down to the earth. And we're going to bring ourselves forward into that tabletop one more time. All right, from here, moving into an extended puppy pose, which is gonna be a nice big chest opener, nice heart opener. Hips are gonna stay up in the air, and you're just gonna gently start to walk your hands forward. Forward, 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 and your chest will start to move down towards the floor. Depending on the openness of your shoulders and the openness of your chest, you might wanna take a blanket, maybe your forehead comes to a blanket. If you have a little more space, the forehead might come to the floor. If you still have more space, the chest and the chin might come to the floor. Breathe, feel out the version that works for you. 5 breaths. Take your time again. We're just inching the hands back to come out of it, nice and slow. And then from here, go ahead and tuck your toes, send your hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. Walk it out for a moment. All right, inhale, lift your heels nice and high. And start to roll forward 1 vertebrae at a time until you're in your high plank. Option to drop the knees if you want. On your next exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. All right, from here, we're gonna take your right arm out like a cactus. So 90-degree angle in your right arm. Bending your knees, you're gonna place the right cheek onto your mat. Taking your left palm to the floor, begin to press into your left hand and bring both feet over to the right side. So you're twisting through the spine and opening up the right shoulder. If this feels too intense on your right shoulder, then try straightening the right arm out instead. That's a little less intense. Now maybe your feet come to the floor as you twist. Maybe not quite, and that's all right too. If you're looking for more, left hand can reach up and back, maybe bind behind the back. Again, that's just an option though. Let's take 5 breaths. Gently rotate back to the center. Coming to switch it out now. So right hand comes to the floor. Left hand is going to come out to the side, either like a cactus or straight out. Either way. Left cheek to the floor, knees are bent. Press into your right palm. Both feet are coming over to that left side. Maybe coming to the floor, maybe just one foot, maybe both feet. If you want to take the right arm up and back, you're more than welcome, but don't force it. Five breaths. After those 5 breaths, gently release back to center. Hands are going to come in line with the chest. Gently press yourself all the way back. Walking the legs forward a little bit. Cross your legs, coming to a seat. All right. Gently bringing feet to the floor. Lower all the way down to the earth. We're going to take figure 4, reclined figure 4 here. So left heel pulls in towards your booty, cross the right ankle over top of your left knee. And then lifting your left leg, you can interlace the hands behind your left thigh, or you can reach for the front of the left shin. Either way, both feet are flexed, and you are working the external rotation of the right knee here. Okay, trying again to keep the shoulders released down onto the mat. If If you want to explore a bit of a deeper sensation, imagine that you're taking your right foot, your right sole of your foot, and you're pressing it over towards the left wall. Should really be feeling that on the outside of your right glute. Let's take 5 breaths. Deep breaths in and out through the nose. Go ahead, release the grip on your left leg, bringing the left foot back down to the floor, but keep your right knee crossed on top, or your right ankle crossed on top. From here, again, just using the right sole of your foot, slowly guide the sole of your right foot down to the floor over on the left side of your body. So this is kind of a really mild, gentle twist. And you're still getting that benefit of the hip opener and getting kind of into this lower back area. So allow your right knee to press out. Right foot is on the floor. If you want this to be more intense, you can use your left knee to kind of hug it closer to you. Arms are doing whatever feels best. Maybe out like a T, cactus arms all the way up overhead, really anything here. Just a nice gentle, little bit of a twist. All right, next inhale, just kind of use the strength of the core to draw the legs back into the center, and we'll switch it out, exhaling the right foot to the floor. Left ankle crosses on top this time for your figure 4. Lift your right leg, interlace the hands either behind the thigh or the front of your right shin. Both feet are flexed, tailbone is melting down into the earth, so it's not lifting up off the floor. Stay grounded through your tailbone, stay grounded through your shoulders. If you're looking for more, press the left sole of your foot over towards your right wall. 5 breaths. Just keep thinking about concentrating on the breath. Even if there's other sounds, other distractions going on around you, just coming back to that breath. And then eventually gently just releasing that right foot back down to the floor, keeping your left ankle crossed on top. And we'll just guide the left sole of the foot all the way down to the earth on the right side of the body. Arms are doing whatever, pressing that left knee out. And if you want more, use your right knee to pop that figure 4 up a little higher. Breathe deep breaths in and out through the nose. All right, inhale to come back to center, uncross the legs. We'll take one final little nice restorative pose. So maybe you can use a block for this, you can use a bolster, you can use a stack of pillows, just a blanket rolled up, whatever you want to do. Just grab something that you can place, lifting your booty up and placing anything under your tailbone. So a block, pillows, bolster, blankets, whatever it is, just that your hips can rest down onto it while being elevated. So a nice supported bridge here. Again, this could just as easily be a pile of pillows, a couch cushion, just something you can settle your hips down onto. Gazing up towards the sky. Nice deep breaths in and out. Maybe even starting to close your eyes if they're not already closed. We'll hold here for 3 more deep breaths in and out. Again, there might be noises happening around. Try and just focus on the breath. If you get distracted, it's okay. When you're ready, gently pressing into your feet to lift your hips up slightly. Take your hand underneath and just remove whatever it is that was underneath your hips. Bolster, block, blanket, roll 1 vertebrae at a time down to the floor. Take those knees, kind of open, close them here for a second. Feel kind of that loosening in the lower back. And then maybe as you're ready, begin to lengthen the legs out onto your mat. Letting your arms just come down by your sides. Maybe your hands rest on your belly. Allowing your eyes to gently close here. Soften through the muscles of your face. Relax your shoulders. And come back to that feeling that you were in at the very beginning of class, where everything just felt heavy down into the earth. Where you could feel the weight of your body being supported, stabilized by the ground beneath you. Free yourself of any remaining tension in the body, in the mind, in the heart even. Let go. Give yourself permission to rest. Shavasana. Gently start to bring your awareness back to your breath, taking a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, let it go. Start to find a little bit of movement here. Wiggle out your fingers, wiggle out your toes, roll out the wrists, the ankles. And then maybe on an inhale, reach the arms all the way up overhead. Find a nice big full body stretch. Gently bending your knees, hugging them in towards your heart. Roll over onto whichever side is calling to you today. Taking a moment there to just breathe, to transition out of your practice. Know that as you emerge from your practice, as you sit up whenever you're ready, you may leave behind anything that's no longer serving you. Anything that feels like a burden to you, any negative, old, stagnant energy, give yourself permission to leave that behind. As you end your practice and when you're ready, gently press back up to a comfortable seated position with your eyes still closed. Sitting up nice and tall and bringing your palms together in front of your heart with the thumbs resting on your chest. Soften through the muscles of your face and maybe even bring a small smile to your lips, allowing yourself to be at ease, to be filled with positivity and new clean energy, knowing that you have given yourself permission to let go of all those things that perhaps were weighing on you, that were holding you back, or possibly just not serving you. Sealing your practice showing yourself love, compassion, and gratitude, and refraining from judgment or criticism. Inhale to gently bring the thumb tips up to the center of your forehead, your third eye space. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Namaste. All right, y'all, thank you so much for practicing with me today and doing this nice kind of slower, chill practice. Sorry, there was a lot of noise kind of going on outside the studio today, but sometimes that's what's happening, and that's why we breathe and we just come back to the breath, and things will happen as they happen. So thank you guys so much for joining me. Again, I'm always accepting donations through Venmo or PayPal. My information is below. I'll be back tomorrow at 12:30 for a flow class, or if you're interested, I am teaching a primal power yoga class tomorrow at 11 a.m. That one is a paid class instead of a donation class. If you're interested in that, that will be on Zoom, and it'll be kind of like a fitness yoga where we'll be dancing around, the music will be loud, and we'll just be jumping around making noise, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, there is an event on my page, an event page for that on my page, and once I've received payment for that from you, I'll send you the Zoom information if you'd like to join tomorrow or any Saturday in the future. Thank you guys so much for practicing. Have an awesome day and an awesome weekend. Namaste. Maybe.